1951, at the age of 19, Joel Grey made his Broadway debut in a musical called BORSCHT. I'm sorry, I'm still not even over Chad Kimball just singing. That's amazing. I saw that show literally 4 times, and 3 times from the student rush seats in the front row, and I never thought I'd be closer to him singing his amazing performance of that amazing song, and I just was, so that was really cool. Back to BORSCHT, which I did not see. The creator, director, and star of BORSCHT was Joel Grey's father, Mickey Katz. Of course, Joel was not called Joel Grey then, he was Joel Kay. He was born Joel Katz, changed his name to Joel Kay, and then later Grey. Mickey Katz was a Yiddish comic and musician who toured the country with his klezmer band, the Kosher Jammers.
Now, it was sort of a Yiddish precedent to Weird Al. Katz would update popular songs with Yiddish lyrics and create klezmer parody versions of the songs, from the Poiple Kishke Eater, the purple people eater, to Barber of Schlemiel. The songs started out as parody albums, but after the recordings became popular, Katz put them together into a full show, also including ventriloquists, jugglers, comedians, and singers. BORSCHT was born. First, it was a one-night concert gig. The popularity of that concert then led to a tour around the country.
When Joel Grey was growing up, his father had always been a struggling musician. As Grey said, "My father toiled 22 years before breaking through. It was the hard life of a musician trying to make a living, and he worked the worst hours. We lived in Cleveland, and he'd have a date in Kentucky, like a 3 or 4 hour drive to his gig, which he drove for a one-nighter. He was one of the hardest working people I've ever known." BORSCHT was Mickey Katz's big breakthrough. It went from parody songs to a recording to this one-night concert to a tour to a successful Broadway show. Pretty successful. In 1951, the New York Times announced that following the successful runs in Chicago, Miami Beach, and on the West Coast, BORSCHT would make its legit Broadway bow at the Royale, now the Jacobs, that September.
Now, one big scandal at the time was that BORSCHT would open at the same time as another Yiddish Broadway revue, Bagels and Yonks.
This is like, they were like the wild parties of the 50s.
Never the twain shall meet. And so the 2 similar shows opened within 1 week of another. And not only were they both Yiddish revues, they both had food in their titles. Jews. And they played just 2 blocks from each other.
See, look, that's the headline. Broadway expects box office duel between Bagels and Katz and BORSCHT. That is a Broadway show league game I would have loved to see. While BORSCHT set up shop at the Royale, Bagels and Yonks played the Holiday Theater. We're learning a lot about theaters tonight. The Holiday was a Broadway house located on Broadway and 47th Street that played its last show back in 1956. The lobby of what was then the theater is now that Radio Shack. It used to be the Roxy Deli, and now it's that Radio Shack. The auditorium area is now part of the W Hotel. So you can kind of see here the Holiday Theater, and then you can see where it's the Radio Shack. Also, do you see that fantastic building in the top picture? That is actually behind that billboard. It's still there. It was the Automat, and then it was a Burger King, and then now it's that big tourist store. This is a lot of information you didn't need to know, but aren't you delighted? Thanks, Owen. The next one you see once, everybody, you guys should think at once at the Royale, Jacobs, think about the klezmer music and gefilte fish jokes that used to fill that very stage more than half a century ago in BORSCHT. And when you buy headphones at Radio Shack, think about the bagels that were passed out during intermission of Bagels and Yonks. They passed out bagels at intermission.
Good idea. I'd like a bagel at
They do their audience. It's fantastic.
According to Walter Winchell, BORSCHT, the second entry in the hot pastrami sweepstakes, got a better break than Bagels and Yonks from the newspaper nobility. Still, in the unpredictable spirit of Broadway, Bagels and Yonks wound up playing for twice as many performances. But BORSCHT became memorable for giving Joel Kay his Broadway debut.
90 performances later, BORSCHT closed, but Mickey Katz and his gang continued to tour with the show for many years. Joel had always appeared in his father's reviews since he was very young. One night on tour, a couple years after BORSCHT, Eddie Cantor came to see one of Katz's reviews in Miami and discovered Joel. He had him booked on TV's Colgate Comedy Hour, and Joel was on his way. In 1994, Joel Grey actually updated BORSCHT and toured it, where else? Florida. Here to sing from BORSCHT, Max Crumm.
I remember opening night, we, so crazy. I was in a stroller on stage and... Just kidding, sorry. Well, I saw this boven coming out of Villavunia, cockeyed and ears like a mischievous junior. He asked me for a promo for a rough mismunificy. He looked like a Poiple Kishke eater to me. It wasn't all Kishke get flying Poiple Kishke eater, flying Poiple Kishke eater, rockin', flying Poiple Kishke eater. I never saw him yet like this. Well, he fell out of his parachute into the streets. He gave a geschwär, I want some kosher meat. I said, don't frisk me, man. Don't make funny Haitian. He couldn't figure out if I was medical-flation. Well, bless my soul, locks and roll. Poiple Kishke, such a criminal like my summer. Poiple Kishke, eyes like latkes, kills like gatkes. A shooting for a thriller was he. Well, he blew a fire from his boson, then he started chasing. He gave me such a shtick, I almost lost my Hasten. I took out my pistol, he got weak in the knees. I knew he wasn't liver cause he cried, don't seize. Well, lots of our feet from death. Poiple Kishke, watch me über Forte. Poiple Kishke, waschen Papa's goodsman. Poiple Kishke, I never saw him like this. Well, the Kishke eater crime, it's time for me to have Kummin. His breath made a fire for a Poiple Kishke woman, so he made him a shira with a fancy jig. Mira Voshe, she was a real oblink. Mira Voshe, she was a real oblink. So Shana was held in good old San Francisco. Everybody came and brought the apple cobbler Kishke. They couldn't count the presents because there were so many for the Poiple Kishke eater and his Coca-Cola Jenny. Then box and roll, flying Poiple Kishke eater, flips and eps and flying Poiple Kishke eater, rotten, flying Poiple Kishke eater. I never saw him nearly like this. Tequila.
I love that, and I have no idea what was happening.
You guys, Max is not even Jewish. We gave him such a challenge.